Good evening, this is the Oscar Expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time for updated Best Actress and Actor predictions for the month of September. We're doing these before we do Best Picture because you know why. There's been a major shakeup in the Best Actress category. Lily Gladstone has moved to lead, folks. She is no longer supporting, giving strong feeling of last year when Michelle Williams went to lead, except I'm not as blown away by it, maybe because it already happened once where somebody who we were all convinced was winning in supporting said, actually, I'm going to go to lead. And yes, Lily Gladstone most likely is the one who made this decision. It seems that she probably just said, look, I feel that my character is one of the biggest faces of the film. I feel that I'm a lead. And look, she just doesn't, I guess, care if it sacrifices her the win or not. Maybe she can still win and lead. Some people are like, why would her team do this? Why on earth would this happen? Maybe it's just not like the number one priority for her to win.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not so bad.
I don't think Lily Gladstone is going to feel greedy about like, oh, I want to win an Oscar versus I want to get nominated. I don't think that's where the calculation's coming from. Like, if you're a central player in the movie, you might want to just be recognized as a lead. She is the lead actress. She could go either way, I think, according to what people say about her screen time. But my take is not, oh no, she's not winning anymore. Oh no, it lessens her chances. Like, if that's the category you belong in, if that's where you want to go, whatever happens, happens. Does she have a worse chance of winning now? Yeah, but does she have a 0% chance of winning? Of course not. No. A lot of people have immediately switched over, having not seen the film. I think we're a little bit more tentative than others to just skyrocket her to number one. What people are saying is the narrative for her, which is essentially, let's say what that is, that would be the first Native American actress to ever be nominated in the category. I'm a little more skeptical than others about this because, yes, when you look at last year, you could make the argument that that was something that really excited voters. At the same time, that hasn't played out that much historically.
At the same time, a lot of people didn't make that argument last year. People said,
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh's not winning because of that. She's winning because she's an actress that's been around for a long time who's finally getting her due. Was it part of, all of that stuff? Yeah, but there was a lot more going on with Michelle Yeoh. The fact that she was a recognized face and an industry veteran who's finally getting this great moment. I mean,
what I don't want to do is chalk up last year's win in lead actress to just that it was a diversity pick. I actually don't think that's what happened. Again, I said it last year, historically, it doesn't really bear out, even in the most recent years, that you're going to take the prize just because of a feeling that they want to reward diversity. Are we forgetting that Frances McDormand beat Viola Davis when she had absolutely no narrative to win a third Oscar? Chadwick Boseman got lost to Anthony Hopkins. So this was clearly not going on in their minds to in such an extent that it determined the winner. And last year, very important to note, Michelle Yeoh has been in movies for so long. The film made use of her many talents, and on top of that, she acknowledges, as everybody does, that it's not easy to find roles like this, and so people ate that up. Last year, there was a huge trend with people giving Oscars to films where the actor was in their childhood movies. There's a lot going on there that you cannot reduce it to, oh, there's an opportunity to award the first Asian American in this category. We shall do so because of that alone.
People seem to flip-flop on this too, because when the nominations came out, they said this category is very unfair to women of color. And then when it comes to the win, are we changing our minds and saying, now that helps people? In 2020, we were saying, people of color have a really hard time winning in lead actress. And I don't know, are we changing our minds every single year? It seems like we are.
I think it is kind of something that people don't know how to reconcile with. But at the same time, I don't know if I would say it's totally inaccurate for people to behave like this, because it's sort of the time we live in where people are trying to do the diversity thing, and they do it in some ways, and then to signal that they represent something, and then in other ways they're not really matching up to the task. So maybe it's not totally inaccurate to say that's what's going on, but I think overall, I'm just trying to diffuse the whole it has narrative, so there it is. I think there's more to it than that. There's always been more to it than that. And Lily Gladstone, for many people, this is going to be the first film they've seen her in, unless they're into like Kelly Reichardt indie movies.
A lot of Academy members aren't. A lot of them aren't.
Yeah.
I also just want to say, let's talk about the performance itself, because that matters. Now, if this wins, judging on like who I think is contending in the category, this would be the least lead, least showy performance possibly in the nomination. Even in supporting, I said, I'm not convinced that there's not going to be somebody who's very showy who comes along and like does something else. So when we're talking about can she win in lead, some people say, well, Olivia Colman wasn't exactly a lead. Olivia Colman was essentially like one of 3 leads, but Olivia Colman was the loudest. She was a scene stealer. I even think back to Network, where Peter Finch was considered a lead, but he's really supporting, but he was such a presence in that movie that people felt that he was lead. Anthony Hopkins, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, it's Lily almost more about presence, isn't it?
Now, I've seen the movie, okay? Lily Gladstone is in contrast to other performances in the film, like especially DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. In contrast, the subtle performer, the quiet performer. And my feeling, and I've talked to not that many people, I guess, who share this. I wanted more from Lily Gladstone, and I felt that maybe her character didn't drive the story enough. And I think that, in my view, she seemed kind of passive. Now, there are plenty of people who say she's the heart and soul of the film, she's the best performance, and in many ways, she is like one of the centerpieces of the film. Like her, De Niro, DiCaprio, she is the heart and soul of the movie in many ways. I think a lot of people who are very eagerly tossing her at number 1 probably didn't see the movie, and maybe they imagine the performance to be this kind of like scene-stealing thing where she gets a huge Oscar clip, and that's not really what it is. That's not really what it is. There's not an obvious Oscar clip in there to me. That being said, I feel like there's a possibility that I'm just the odd one out. I don't know, maybe everybody else is going to get behind it, but I also feel like I kind of have a sense for, like, when I see a performance that could win an Oscar and it just has those clips and those showy moments. But, maybe this year is different where people are just really psyched to give it to Lily Gladstone. And I have no doubt that she would probably give the best speech. Like Emma Stone's speech, neither here nor there. But again, 2021, Anthony Hopkins didn't show up, and Frances McDormand barely wanted to be in front of the mic. So you never really know what's going to happen any given year.
Oftentimes it can come down to like last minute excitement, last minute buzz. Whatever happens at the SAGs, does that shake things up? So, there's an element of unpredictability to it. The point is, we have a lot of contenders here. And Lily Gladstone, I think she could win because people are really excited about the performance and they say she's the MVP of the movie. But she's not our number 1, is she?
Well, we have Emma Stone, but here's the other thing. Emma Stone has been the front runner for about 3 weeks. She's been like the solid front runner for about 3 weeks. And I think it's fair to be skeptical that Emma Stone is just the runaway front runner as well. And I actually think that if I'm really thinking about it, maybe it is Emma Stone versus Lily Gladstone. I don't know if Sandra Hüller has a shot to win.
It's the battle of the stones, if you will.
I think Carey Mulligan and Sandra Hüller, and we'll see about Fantasia Barrino, maybe there's a chance that they can win. Sandra Hüller, though, freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Probably my number 1 lead actress performance this year. I haven't seen Poor Things yet.
I would personally compare Sandra Hüller to Cate Blanchett in Tar. That's what I thought of the performance. I thought it was masterful. She gets to show an immense amount of range, and I was hanging on her every word. I thought she was incredible. Would love to see her win. I want to see her take some awards this season. It can be critics.
Critics will give her some awards.
Yeah. I don't know if she gets Critics' Choice. Maybe
Yeah,
she gets
I don't think
BAFTA.
so.
Maybe she gets Golden Globe drama. I don't really know.
I think with Emma Stone in the race, that's also going to be a critics' pick, and so will Lily Gladstone probably. Carey Mulligan, Maestro, not as much. Fantasia Barrino, not as much. But I think Emma Stone versus Lily Gladstone feels more right. And, Poor Things might win Best Picture. It's probably top 2. As we have discovered based on people's reactions, we are seeing it.
That's the thing. If Poor Things wins Best Picture, isn't that a little more compelling to put Emma Stone at number 1 for lead actress? Sure, it depends if you think Poor Things could win Best Picture, but that's my prediction right now. I'm thinking Poor Things might win Best Picture, so I'm going to put Emma Stone at number 1. Clearly, last year, what we also saw was that when they love a film, They want to give it some other awards. And look at Nomadland as well. She wasn't even predicted to win Best Actress, and she won, and they gave the film Best Picture. I don't know if Poor Things wins Best Picture without Emma Stone. Well, it seems like she's so likely to go along with it.
And it seems like, based on what people are saying, she's the showiest performance there.
Well, yeah,
showier than Lily Gladstone.
She's an unequivocal lead, and
that's Lily Gladstone. Too. I mean, I think that like with Michelle Williams, when people watch Killers of the Flower Moon now, they're gonna say she was always the lead. You guys were nuts for thinking she wasn't supporting. They're just gonna say that. Yeah. They're just gonna say that. She could qualify as either if you really want to. I mean, I saw her more as a supporting performance, but that's fine. It's hard for me not to say that this is the 5. I mean, sure, you can say Fantasia Barrino.
Well, that could get pushed too to next year.
Sure,
that's very possible.
But the other thing is,
possible, actually.
Greta Lee. I don't know. I mean, I had Greta Lee at number 5 before Lily Gladstone came into the race. I don't know if I can do that. Greta Lee, she doesn't have that much behind her, I guess, that people are familiar with, and the performance is subtle. I think Past Lives is still going to get Best Picture, but the actors could drop off.
It feels like the kind of performance, and I hate to say it because I love the performance. I want it to get nominated as much as anybody. It feels like the kind of performance that film Twitter is screaming about, and they're just upset. Like, why, Oscars? Why can't she get traction? But she just can't get in with the other heavyweights. Yeah. Now, I don't know if that's true. Maybe she can end up getting in, but this is sure as heck a tight category. I mean, the top 4 are all in winning contention, I would say. And
do you realize
pick up wins somewhere?
Do you realize how different this is than last time? Because last time, I think we just put Carey Mulligan in at 5 for the first time.
Yeah.
Now, considering Maestro's reactions and the fact that people like her probably more than Bradley Cooper even, I think she's big in there. Some people think she isn't even as a shot to win because she hasn't won before, but I'm not really sure that that's going to actually happen. Emma Stone wasn't even in our top 5.
Oh, yeah.
She rocketed up.
Yeah.
A lot has changed at festival season, as we like to say.
Yeah.
Natalie Portman, May, December. She's just one of those things that is at the whim of what the competition is, and now I just don't.
Natalie Portman, I see as a potential spoiler no matter what happens. If May, December gets an extra boost with the Academy somehow, and she just pops up in there with one of her supporting actor or actresses, that could happen, I feel like, no matter what the race is supposed to be.
Well,
because
we could say
Natalie Portman is who she is.
We could say that about Greta Lee, honestly, because
you could say that about her too.
Being number 6 at this point of the year, people say rest in peace. The odds that this is going to be the 5 are really low, guys. It is September. The odds that this is the 5 are still really low. Yeah. So, you don't know if Carey Mulligan gets freaking snubbed or something. You don't know if Fantasia Barrino could get snubbed. You don't know what wild snubs are going to happen.
But I do feel that this is the top 7.
Yeah, I definitely feel this is a top 7. I mean, number 8, Annette Bening for Naiad. Is that even number 8? Is that lower than number 8?
And whether it's number 8 or lower, it's just in a different tier. Like I said, top 7, wouldn't be surprised if they got nominated. And then this is where I start being surprised. If you told me Annette Bening gets in for Naiad, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the movie. I think she's good in it. The people I saw it with apparently didn't think she was that great. I thought she was pretty good.
But even thinking she's good, I don't know if you would vote for it.
No, people say this every year too. They thought Annette Bening was getting in for The Report, and it didn't happen. They thought she was getting in for 20th Century Women, and it didn't happen. I mean, what's the lesson here? Just because Annette Bening hasn't won an Oscar doesn't mean she's getting nominated for things that aren't Best Picture. That's the lesson.
Yeah, I get a little weary when people are toying with somebody at number 1 or they're number 6, or they're number 1 or they're number 6, that's kind of what's happening here. People are like, "Oh, Annette Bening's in a movie where she's the lead and people like it. Number one, that's her winning thing." And then they realize the reactions are pretty lukewarm. She might not go along with a movie that doesn't get another nomination. It's like, okay, never mind. Like, they just throw her out of the number 1.
I don't think Naiad's actually going to happen. I'll move her even downer.
Oh wow.
Kaylee Spaney for Priscilla. We've been saying Priscilla for no reason in many of the videos, but it's Priscilla, and she won the Venice Best Actress Award. Many people say, well, you can't win another acting award if you win Best Film at Venice, and Poor Things won Best Film, and so Emma Stone couldn't win the category. Yeah. It's big that she won that, but let's not act like that is a bellwether of whether or not you get nominated. I'm sure some of the winners have been nominated, but this is a Sofia Coppola film. We have to remember, and likely the performance is very internal. That is how Sofia Coppola likes her protagonists.
The fact that Priscilla is probably not getting any nominations.
Yeah. I think some people are getting a little excited about it. It actually is her most acclaimed film since Lost in Translation, so I'm excited for it. But I just don't think that Sofia Coppola is always itching those Academy bellies in the right way. And, I also don't know if the Academy's ready for Priscilla after they just celebrated Elvis last year.
Margot Robbie for Barbie. I mean, at this point, are you really gonna put her in? Are you really gonna say she could beat one of the people who are in the top 5 or top 7? I don't think you are.
No, I always thought
I don't
that
think
wasn't
so.
going to happen, and now I just don't
leave
think.
it at that. We might have Ingenue Ellis. Some people have this in their 5, and they're saying this is definitely going to happen. I don't see it from my viewing of the film. It seems to really depend on whether you were mixed or whether you loved it, that you think Origin is an Oscar contender, but even the people who loved it seem to be giving up on the idea of Best Picture. And if that's the case, how the heck do you have Ingenue Ellis in for lead actress? I feel like that only goes along with it if it's in Best Picture.
Origin is just too different of a movie. It's too weird of a movie, too divisive of a movie to get these big Oscar nominations. I just think that, like, if that's going to get major nominations like this, it would have to be a more accessible, straightforward thing, and it's not.
I don't think it's inaccessible. I don't think that's what.
No, it's just bound to turn some people off with the approach, I guess.
I just think people are gonna people feel very mixed on it. People feel very different ways.
I don't think Origin's getting.
I don't
any
think there's
Oscar
anything
nominations
inherently about it that is going to turn people off.
Origin's going to get no Oscar. I feel pretty confident saying that. Some people don't think that I should have that confidence. I feel confident saying
that's fine. It's our prediction. What's personal to us and what's personal to you is personal to you only.
Now, I've shortened this list quite a lot because I think everybody else is just not happening. Jessica Lange, Long Journey's Journey to Tonight. Where is she? She isn't gone. That movie just doesn't exist. Jodie Comer, The Bike Rider. Some people think that could happen. That's not actually going to happen. Teyana Taylor, 1001. I mean, that's looking pretty low on hopes. The only
if it was a weak year, you could maybe see people trying to hype up Teyana Taylor and saying, guys, why are we sticking to this 5? We have Teyana Taylor. We need to lift her up into this category. But at this point, it would have to be like the lead actor category last year. So I'm gonna keep her at the low and say there's like a very outside chance that it could be a last minute grassroots thing.
I think some critics groups will try to revive her a little bit, and they should. They should try to bring her back into the conversation, but with all these other heavyweight films that are getting nominations
it's
everywhere
just a problem that the film is not in the conversation for awards outside of her performance. It's just a problem. Kate Winslet in Lee. I saw Lee. She was very good in it, but she's the best part of the movie. The movie is just okay. It's not going to happen because of that. Jessica Chastain in Memory was really good, but it's a subtle performance. It's a slow burn of a movie, and that just probably won't happen. It's another really nice piece of her work.
Best Actor. Now, I'm conflicted on what to have at number 1, because we are we going to do the thing where we kind of stick to the gut of the performance that we saw at TIFF that kind of intuitively made us say, you know what, that just feels like it can win? And there were previous years where we said, Brendan Fraser, done, easy. Jessica Chastain, watch out, Kristen Stewart, and everybody was still saying that it's not going to be Jessica Chastain.
And the TIFF Tribute Award has been going to actors that have been winning lead acting Oscars.
Well, technically he didn't get it for Rustin.
I know, but let's say in a normal year, no strikes, he would have gotten it for Rustin, and people would have been talking about that a little more perhaps, but talking about it a little less now that the strikes happened. But let's pretend that it was for Rustin, because it basically was. I think Coleman Domingo has the potential to garner the most passion for his performance, even out of all the other actors from Best Picture nominees. I mean, I think the other performances have something in common where people think they're great, but it's a little hard to see which one might pull all the way through to a win. Like, Paul Giamatti and Cillian Murphy are some of the best of the year, and you'd agree that's the case with DiCaprio, but something about it just maybe a little bit hard to see them being sweepers. Now, they could all win, but I don't know if there's a sweep in there for any of those guys.
Now, I mean, Bradley Cooper, I think, even as showy as that performance is, as give me an Oscar as that performance is, and how much the Academy often likes when you want an Oscar and you are, transforming for it. Something about him directing himself in the movie, I just don't know if it feels like it's too trying. And, Bradley Cooper, we know you're always trying, but like, we're not going to give it to you that easy, buddy. I don't know. I almost feel like there's a sentiment there that's like that. Even Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, I think there's passion behind it. I think that it would feel nice to give him the award because he's a humble actor who's been waiting his turn for this lead role, and he freaking knocks it out of the park. Oppenheimer's a huge contender.
Yeah.
So I think he's top 2 still.
Yeah.
I think he could win. But Coleman Domingo, the biggest disadvantage is clearly that the movie is not only not in Best Picture, but not in the 15 and probably not in the 20 even. I mean, that puts him really low. I mean, even Brendan Fraser, that movie got a supporting actress nomination.
It was probably number 11 or 12. It was definitely 11 or 12 for picture.
Crazy Heart got a surprise supporting actress nomination and I think a song nomination. Winning for a lone nomination for lead actor.
Yeah.
Very, very rare. I just want to try to maybe maintain what I saw at TIFF and the cheers from the audience, as you remember. When Coleman Domingo claps back, stomps his feet, it is an energetic, show-stopping performance. The entire thing's an Oscar clip.
Yeah.
I think he does what it takes to win an Oscar in this movie.
Also, the lead actor category has been different than the lead actress category in that the winner has correlated with the Best Picture nominee many more times in the last decade. But we seem to be very comfortable with predicting a performance like this in the lead actress category. I don't see why it has to be that much different to say that could happen in Best Actor. Think about Renee Zellweger and Judy. I mean, she beat some Best Picture nominated movie performances, and we didn't really bat an eye because that was just something that happened a lot in Best Actress.
Yeah.
But hey, there's not really that compelling of a difference for me to say that can't happen in the other gendered category.
Well, usually it also happens to actors who have been nominated many times and are overdue. Even with Jessica Chastain.
Well, you can't say that about Renee
Moore.
Zellweger. She already won an Oscar.
Yeah, but she was still a big veteran actress who the Academy just loves. I mean,
Coleman Domingo has a career narrative for him. Let's not even
I know,
deny
but
it.
he doesn't been nominated before. It's his first nomination.
That's fine.
I mean, look,
Neither was Brendan Fraser. Like, it happens where it's like, my God, where have you been all this time? Like, come on up on stage, buddy. It's your time.
If there was one performance though that I think was maybe most likely to not be nominated, there's an argument for Coleman Domingo too. Just because his movie's not in Best Picture.
Yeah.
So that's also kind of weirdly true and contradictory.
Like, I wouldn't say the performance is a lock, even though I'm putting it at number 1. Which is weird.
And then Paul Giamatti could win because he has the veteran narrative. He's been around a long time.
I also want to point out with both of these categories, they feel very locked up, or especially this one, feels very locked up in what I want to see happen because I'm afraid if someone misses that it's going to be devastating for me. But this is the kind of year where that's probably going to happen. I mean, if I had to bet on it, I would bet against this being the top 5 eventually. And the only way that it becomes not the 5 is if at some point someone starts to miss a couple things and I go, oh shit, how could this be happening? Jesus Christ.
Do you feel? I feel
that's
like
going to happen with somebody.
What if Bradley Cooper misses from Maestro? I mean, that would be.
The
the movie would have to start tanking.
I think
the
movie
direction.
could actually. I think the movie could start doing what Mank did, where it's like, oh, of course, and then it's like, wait a second, it's missing a couple, and maybe he could fall off at the very end.
Yeah, but it's not like Gary Oldman missed, even though we thought
that's right. That's right.
But you know what? Jeffrey Wright, American Fiction, maybe it gets Best Picture, maybe it's the first TIFF movie in a long time to not do so, but if it does get Best Picture, it feels weird to go without him, doesn't it? It feels weird to go without him.
That's what makes me nervous.
At the same time, though, I don't think that he has any shot to win, whereas I think other people in this category kind of have a case to make, and their performances are overall showier than Jeffrey Wright. I think Jeffrey Wright's very good in the film, but I just don't know. If I can squeeze him in with this 5. I have a number 6 is a very solid, easily he's number 6, I think.
I would really like if he got in. I'd be happy with it. You would not see me complaining. It's maybe his best performance that I've seen him in, and he's exciting really in every movie that he's in, even when he has a small role.
Andrew Scott in All of Us Strangers. That is probably not a performance that can get in if it's really tightly packed like this.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know?
All of Us Strangers, we're not predicting that it gets nominated for Best Picture, but I'm not going to say it's impossible that it enters the Best Picture top 10.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's impossible. It hasn't come out yet, but it seems to give people After Sun vibes, and it has the same letterbox curve as After Sun, which I like to take stock in it. I like to think that means something. One of my most anticipated of this year, and I definitely wonder if that film could have enough passion, because it has so much passion from the people who have seen it, to get into the Oscar race. And, you know, what if he comes along and storms it and someone goes out? I don't think it's likely, but possible.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's hard to consider people who are lower than this because it just feels like it's going to be at least like 4 of these guys, right? But, you know, if you want people who may be in another year where they're hypothetically with less competition, I think Koji Yakusho would maybe have a shot for Perfect Days. Glenn Powell for Hitman maybe, but that also might not even come out this year.
Yeah.
It's too comedic. I think people who think Hitman's going to be an Oscar contender, that's too optimistic. That movie is just too much of a fun romp to get into the
to be
Oscars.
fair, if the category were less crowded, I would say he could get in.
Yeah.
Like if it was last year, I would say he could get in. And it feels kind of like a James Franco in Disaster Artist performance. And that got nominated everywhere because he just fit into the top 5.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I just thought of though? You know how we're having a really hard time with this with this top 5, right? What we should do is think about what the BAFTAs would do and see who's snubbable according to BAFTA. Because there's some performances
Probably
where I'm
Bradley
like,
Cooper.
oh, you might not get nominated from BAFTA.
Probably Bradley Cooper and Paul Giamatti.
And that's why you have them at 4 and 5?
I don't know. Maybe intuitively I knew that.
I mean, Jessica Chastain didn't get nominated for Eyes of Tammy Faye.
I mean,
BAFTA,
Cillian Murphy's
Jesus.
probably going to win the BAFTA.
Yeah.
Let's
You know
be
who I
like-
think might win the BAFTA too is Sandra Hüller.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be that surprised if she won the BAFTA.
Yeah, but it could be. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, look, I just
If they nominate that for best film, yeah.
I just realized Cillian Murphy could win the BAFTA. I think SAG would have to go to Coleman Domingo, and Critics'
Right,
Choice
right.
sometimes
SAG
weirdly aligns with SAG, but I could also see them going with, you know, Cillian
I can
Murphy.
see Critics'
or-
Choice doing Domingo and SAG doing Domingo, and that's why he feels like my number 1 to me.
Yeah.
I don't think the BAFTA will do it. Golden Globes, I mean, who knows? Golden Globes could go, I guess, any which way. Paul Giamatti could, and versus Jeffrey Wright in the comedy category could be a little interesting. It could be a little
I
interesting.
feel like Paul Giamatti would probably win, though, wouldn't
Yeah,
he?
I think Paul Giamatti would probably win.
We'll see. But yeah, Barry Keoghan and Saltburn doesn't seem to have a chance really, and Matt Damon for Air at a lonely number 11.
Why even that doesn't even that needs
Kingsley
to be-
Benadir is just not happening, is he?
No one thinks it.
Just
No one
not
thinks it.
not even confirmation that the movie is coming out this year. Still, rest in peace to Teo Yu, basically rest in peace. Michael Fassbender for The Killer is basically rest in peace. David Strathairn, A Little Prayer. You know, the people who thought he was going to Bill Nye it, like, you had your fun, but now you have to, you know, get with what's really going on here. And then who else? Oh, apparently Freud's Last Session is coming out this year. So let's just throw Anthony Hopkins in at number 12 or whatever for playing Sigmund Freud.
And Anthony Hopkins for One Life. I would have needed to see One Life take a TIFF Audience Award slot, and it didn't.
No.
So I'm gonna say no.
Those are our updated Best Actress and Best Actor predictions. We'll be back soon with your other Oscar predictions that you are eagerly awaiting. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
If you could pick someone from each category to be your mom and dad, who would you pick?